uh, the missionary that started here was actually an Italian priest who was in China, and then at the time there was the revolution there in China. He had to leave China. And on the way back here, the war broke out and he was stranded, quote unquote, in USA. And in the general quarters in Rome told him, since you are in USA, try to start there a branch of our presence in USA. And this priest started here in Holliston. He went to speak to the Cardinal of Boston, and he was saying, go in the area where we are now and start there. That's where he came. And he started our presence here.
We had a little old farmhouse, very traditional, built maybe 300 years ago. It was a very old building. We extended it so that we could welcome the first U.S. students, as well as some more personnel from Italy. By the late 50s, they realized they needed to expand. So across our street, there's a senior living facility that used to be our high school. We built a very decent building for a seminary high school. But at the same time, we opened the first house after Holliston in Franklin, Wisconsin, just outside of Milwaukee.
And I was among the first one who came here in 1953. Before coming to the US, I was in Italy. I took my vows in 1952, and I was assigned to USA as a student. So I came to US to do philosophy and theology. And I first came to Petersham, Massachusetts, not far from here, for 1 year to study the language. And then I came here as a student, and I went to Framingham at the Marist College for my philosophy.
We moved our provincial, who was resident here in Holliston, to a house in New Jersey. Soon after that, we extended and built a house or a community in California, because it's warm in California. And the General Council in Rome asked us to open that house. It could be a residence for priests who wanted to get a second degree or a third degree in that area of San Francisco. Also, if someone was sick and could no longer live in a place that's cold, they could go to California because it has a very Mediterranean environment. In 1973, the graduate school program that had been housed in Milwaukee moved to Chicago to participate in Catholic Theological Union, and the last community that was opened in Chicago at a parish that was in the midst of Chinatown, because 95% of the people in that area were Buddhist or Taoists, and it was a place, a laboratory of learning for our grad students who were living in the student house near the university, but they could do their practical pastoral work there in Chinatown, in a very non-Christian environment.
At the time here, there were about 25 of us here, and our community was very united, and we had lay people coming from outside to teach us here.
Activities in the beginning were looking for young men to join us and training them, and finding the money to pay off the debt. So it was a heavy financial outreach to any friends and benefactors. We were looking at friends and benefactors as people who would support that activity. Now it's completely changed, because mission is changing. Not only is everyone a missioner, but communities that exclusively have only priests, brothers, and sisters are becoming irrelevant or are becoming dated. Lay people, lay associates to the communities is a growing thing.
We walked outside, yeah. So
That's a good thing to do.
exercise in the morning is a good thing, right?
So the charism that was lived out by the priests, brothers, and sisters can be extended to any and every Christian.
What makes a good missionary, in my view, it was to be in touch with people, to share with people. Everybody is a little Irish, except for the Italians. My best years as a missionary, quote unquote, was in the Amazons in Brazil, where I was for 9 years. And there I learned to appreciate the simple people and live as, in some way, the way they lived. It was a beautiful, beautiful, peaceful life. I loved it. And people loved me because I shared their life with them and they shared theirs with mine.